because, you know, when I was a kid, I always viewed my dad as larger than life. He was almost like a mythological creature, you know. I just, in a way, I sort of wanted to be my dad because he knew so much stuff. Like, he was a doctor, and in his free time, he got his law degree. Yeah. That's how much he didn't want to be a dad. He was like, what can I do in these slots of time when I would be parenting? In fairness, we weren't great kids. We always wanted a dad. And he wanted another secondary degree. So our goals were at odds. I never saw that side of my dad, you know. Sometimes when I was a kid, strangers would come up to me, they'd be like, "Your dad is a great doctor." And I'm like, all right, you know. From Worcester, Massachusetts, that's how everyone talks. "Your dad is a great doctor." I'm like, all right, you know, he's not my dad. I mean, he's not, he is my dad. That was Freudian. I don't know if that'll make it in a special. Whole show's about my dad. He's not my dad. What was that first part where he said it's not his dad? Is this gonna twist into the ending of Chinatown? He wasn't my doctor. Someone came up to me recently. I was walking Una home from school, and they were like, "I love your comedy." I was like, "Oh, thanks." And they look at Una, and they go, "Your dad's a great comedian." She was like, "All right." You know what I mean? And I was like, "I know what you mean." And we walk a few blocks. I go, "Una, what do you think when people say stuff like that?" And she goes, "It's a waste of my time." And I was like, "That's the meanest thing anyone's ever said to me." And I know Bill Burr. Very rare that I would see my dad beat. Like, I remember one time I played soccer when I was a kid. I was the goalie, and one time I dove head first for the ball, and I got to it, and then the kid on the other team kicked my head. I know, with the intensity he had intended for the ball. And I don't know the rest of the story, but I have been told that I hopped up and I was like, "I'm good." And they took my word for it, and they kept me in the game. And about 15 minutes later, I just wander off the field. Onto another field. And my teammates ran over, they go, "Mike, are you okay?" And I said to them, and I quote, I go, "What are we even doing here?" And my dad ran onto the field, and he picked me up, and he carried me off, and he drove me home, and he asked me all the questions that doctors ask their patients. "What's your middle name? What are the classes you take at school?" And I was like, "Oh, okay, this is..." And then the other time, when it came up, is that I went to St. Mary's School for grade school in Shrewsbury, Massachusetts, and every Friday night we had science club, which is kind of like a mafia front for Catholic school. Like, we believe Jesus turned water into wine, and also there were dinosaurs, you know, and... So every Friday night, it's like a different parent explaining what science has to do with their job. And one night it was gonna be my dad, and I was so nervous. I was like, "What's he gonna say?" He doesn't know anything about science. And he came in, and he brought his medical tools, and he took them out one by one. He explained what each of them does. He took out a three-dimensional model of the brain, explained the hemispheres of the brain, and all these kids came up to me afterwards, and they were like, "Your dad is wicked smart. You have the smartest dad." I was like, "Yeah, I do have the smartest dad. But how come he didn't explain any of that stuff to me sooner?" Because I just didn't see a lot of that. You know, what I would see of my dad was he'd come home from work around 8 o'clock at night, and he would sit in the corner of the living room and read a war novel and scowl. And every now and then, he'd sort of fly off the handle about some little thing. He'd be like, "Where are my goddamn keys?" You know. I'd be like, "We gotta find Dad's keys." Spent my whole life looking for those keys. Jumped through a window to get those keys. My dad would not like that joke. So we'd look for the keys, and then my mom would just pray. You know, she'd be like, "I'm gonna say a prayer to St. Anthony." I was 7. I was like, "I don't think this is gonna work. We need more concrete tactics to locate the keys." If you don't know the Christian St. Anthony, he's sort of the finding stuff guy, which feels like a bum deal as a saint. Because it's hard to become a saint. You know, you gotta perform 3 miracles. They have to verify the miracles. You know, a lot of dark money in that space. A lot of, yeah, I saw it. And then they get canonized if you're lucky. And then chances are you find out like 5 minutes before you die. You know, they're like, "Great news, you're a saint." You're like, "Ah," you know. "One last thing, you gotta find everybody's keys." You're like, "No," and then you're dead. So I'm with my dad in March at the hospital, and it's devastating. I mean, if you've been with someone who's had a stroke, I mean, it's the worst thing you can possibly imagine. But I will say, if I'm being completely honest, it has calmed him down. Stay with me. Most of the jokes are for you, but a few of them are for me. This is a coping mechanism. I hope it is for you too. No, I mean, most of the time, like, this is horrific. But then every once in a while, I'm like, where was the stroke when I was 5? You know what I mean? Like, when I was a kid, he'd be like, "Where are my goddamn keys?" Now he's like, "Keys." And I'm like, I can't say I don't prefer the latter. It is a little more polite. Stay with me. It is my dad. I'm allowed. It would be weird if it was your dad. You know what I mean? I came out here and I was like, "This guy's dad is like, keys." You know, you'd be like, Mike has really crossed a line. The most perverse insult comic of all time. The roast of Mike Birbiglia's audience members' ailing parents. So I'm with my dad in March at the hospital, and then he can't even really move his face, and so the only way I can even understand his expression is through his eyes. And the expression in his eyes is fear. So how do I explain that to my daughter? That's not the good life. So a few days later, I drive home, and I take my daughter to one of her friends' birthday parties that weekend. I go to probably 200-300 children's birthday parties a year. It's a huge part of my life. My daughter has 6 friends. Last year I went to 235 children's birthday parties. The birthday party industrial complex has grown wildly out of control. It's my least favorite part of my life. I don't like it, because I just don't like my daughter's friends. Am I allowed to say that? I don't even know. I love my daughter more than anything in the world. I don't like her friends. I don't know if you've spent a lot of time with 9-year-olds you're not related to. This is an insufferable bunch. When I'm with her friends, I'm like, this makes me really not understand pedophilia. Stay with me. I'm gonna tiptoe through this minefield of a topic. You're like, we weren't with you for the stroke stuff. Obviously, I'm evoking the most heinous of crimes. But when I'm with her friends, I'm like, I don't even get the hook. I don't get the sell. Who would want to spend any meaningful amount of time with these people? I mean, these are our worst and dumbest. Stay with me. I have exams. So, I'll give you an example. So we're driving to this birthday party, and it's me and Jenny, and my wife Jenny, our daughter Una, and then one of her friends, and then the friend's dad. And the dads are losers. Can we talk about the dads for a second? Not me, the other dad. I mean, they're nothing like me. I mean, they're all just dead in the eyes. They've recently developed a stutter. They always storm into a room like, if anyone asks, tell them I tried to find oat milk. You know what I mean? They're always desperately seeking an alibi for a misdemeanor I'm not familiar with. And so we're with one of the dads, and his name is Rob. It's one of our good friends. Jenny and I call him Broccoli Rob. And thanks for laughing. We think it's hilarious. Broccoli hasn't laughed once. We've called him this hundreds of times, which I think is technically bullying. So it's me, Jenny, Una, Broccoli, and then Broccoli's son, Arrow, which is a name. I mean, we live in Brooklyn. It's not the only Arrow we know. We know a quiver of arrows. We know a murder of bows. I mean, so we're driving to the birthday party. We stop at this bakery. And this is what drives me nuts about 9-year-olds. Arrow says to his dad, he goes, Dad, I don't want rosemary ciabatta. I want regular ciabatta. I want to say to this kid, look, Arrow, life is going to serve you all kinds of ciabatta. But if you want to remain true to yourself, hold out for the regular. So we get the regular ciabatta, and we